Oh my gosh, what is going on, everybody? My name is Wolves, and welcome back, guys. I did not leave YouTube. I know a lot of you guys who have been around, who's been watching my videos. First off, thank you for watching my videos. But guys, I did not leave YouTube. I am trying to come back as fast as possible. I've been streaming a little bit on Twitch to give y'all a little bit of some updates. But guys, I am trying to come back for you guys. Anyways, what I've been doing, it's just been scheduling issues and all that, and I've just been trying to get back to you guys. I know I said that a lot, but anyways, for my first video back, I thought that we could be reacting to some zombies, some Call of Duty cut zombies content, 45 minutes of cut content in zombies. And this was made by Crazy Rabbit. Guys, I love this guy. He makes a lot of these kind of iceberg videos that I like to watch, and I really do enjoy him. Go and check out his channel. I believe he does have another channel, but this is his main, or at least the channel that he does a lot of this content on. If you like some of that content, go check out his channel, and also make sure to hit that like button and subscribe and check out some of my content as well. It would definitely help me and support the channel as well. And it will also support Crazy Rabbit as well. But anyways, I don't want to keep you guys waiting. I'm actually ready to see what all is here. The reason why I'm doing this is because majority of the time I've just been playing Call of Duty Zombies and everything. And I just saw this video pop up on my YouTube channel. I think I've reacted to this before, or I've seen this before. I haven't reacted to it, but I've seen this video before. But hey, maybe I haven't. Let's just watch it again. It popped up in my recommended, so let's go ahead and let's just...
Tranzit had some of the most ridiculous cut content that I've ever seen, and honestly it should be considered a war crime to butcher it as bad as they did. The final product that we ended up getting is so vastly different than what they wanted to deliver, it's insane. But I can't blame them too much. It's a tale as old as time. Console limitations and them having to rush to meet the deadline always adds up and equals to just such a disappointment. And honestly, Tranzit had just so much cut content, I don't even know where to start, so we're just going to jump right into it. Tranzit at one point was going to have a very different round end jingle than the one we actually had. And I'm not going to lie, I like this one a lot more than the one that's in the game. This one's way more dark and mysterious. And
wait, hold on. Is it Tranzit? By the way, I forgot. Closed captions. I'm a terrible reactor. I'm going to be pausing through this video a little bit. Is this the mod, or is this actually, like, in the game? I think this is just the mod. This looks like the mod that he's, like, using, plutonium and all that. But anyways, so I thought every single map was going to have a new round jingle to it. Was it
I like
not?
this one a lot more than the one that's in the game. This one's way more dark and mysterious and overall creepy than the one they actually put on Tranzit. Was just the same generic round change all the way from Nocturne and Toten, and they kept using this all the way until Die Rise. Who knows, but I'll shut up so you can listen to it.
Ooh, it's like a clock.
Now there was
honestly,
a
they should use that on
song at one point in Tranzit, probably way early in its development, and I don't know if I'm getting bamboozled here or if this is actually legit, so we're gonna have to put on our tinfoil hats and just believe. But someone a long time ago claimed that they got their hands on a Black Ops 2 demo disc, and inside the files they ended up finding this song.
Oh, that sounds like Whenever You Die. Okay.
And they don't claim that it's anything special. They actually state that it could just be some leftovers. It could just be a placeholder until they actually had Carry On. Who knows what the purpose of this was, but we do know that it is Unholy Confessions by Avenged Sevenfold. So whether it was actually intended to be in the map or just a placeholder or them just messing around to see what fits, I still think it's pretty interesting. Now, you know how you can play survival on farm in town? Well, originally you were also going to be able to do that at the power station and at the diner. And you're in luck because they also have the unused survival icons for each. And I'm just going to go ahead and assume that they took these out for console limitations and just to free up some space, because these were probably already done and ready to go. Black Ops 2 Zombies, instead of Turn and Grief mode, was going to have a lot more game modes originally, but majority of them got scrapped or just reworked into Turn and Grief. Two of the more well-known ones are Race and Meat. Race would have taken place in the tunnel, power station, and farm area, and we do have a loading screen for Race on the farm area. And upon spawning in, you would have had some Richtofen quotes, and the race would have began. and the objective was to get the necessary amount of zombie kills to open your door and progress to the end, and the first team to make it to the end would win, and it's literally a race to see who can get to the end. It's very self-explanatory.
Oh, that would have been nice.
participants, it is your fearless leader, Rick Toffen. Welcome to base. It's very easy. Just kill the required amount of zombies to open a door, move through to the next area, and repeat until you cross the finish line. A glorious game, if I do say so myself. Be sure to cause your opponent some grief along the way. Get ready to race. That's the pace. You are a room behind. Your lead has increased to 2 rooms, but strong, sexy.
That's Rick Toffen. That was going to be Rick Toffen's voice actor, dude.
Stop wasting time. You're 2 rooms behind. Mein Gott! I can't believe you're ahead by 3 rooms. What drugs are you on? Kill 15 zombies and your door opens. 3 zombies to go.
Now you might be wondering, that does not sound like Rick Toffen at all, and you would be correct. Before they actually do get the VAs in there, they usually have somebody record the lines, and they just use that as a temporary placeholder until they can get the actual VAs. And this is actually one of these sound designers, Colin. You will recognize that voice if you watch some of my other videos. He also did some temporary voice work for previous games. And also one little thing, there might have been some cut arrows that were never actually used in the game that might have been used for the race game mode, kind of indicating on which way to go, because these cut images were found in the game but were never used. The other game mode was going to be meat.
And
Played
then
in the
here's
town,
meat.
2 teams of 4 split into
meat.
opposing sides of the map, and upon starting, a piece of meat would spawn in, and you have to toss it to the other team's side of the map. And zombies only go after the team which has the
couldn't they
meat on
bring
their
this
side. And the
back?
objective is to stay alive for as long as possible and continuously throw the meat back and forth. And after a certain amount of time passes, the round will end and the teams will switch sides. And luckily for you, we actually have the loading screen for this, and I'm not gonna lie, this loading screen is amazing.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. What's the fireworks? Oh, I see. I've seen this and heard about the meat game mode, but like meat,
And it kind of
catch
gives you
it,
a little
tasty,
glimpse of
catch
just
it.
what they were envisioning for town originally, before we got the really, lackluster town that we have now in Transit. And there are some unused meat textures that would have been used for the game mode, but unfortunately did get scrapped. And there's also this icon that was in the Transit files that maybe could have been used for meat, or really any of these game modes, because I've never seen this before.
Quick revive,
but apparently
like,
it was in the files. And of course,
that
there
like
are some Rick
keep
Toffen
reviving
quotes for
you.
Hey there, willing participants.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to meat. The rules are easy. When the meat drops, you finally reached manhood. I mean, grab it, throw it, don't get caught with it. Zombies will only attack
classic
you if
Rick
your
Toffen.
side has the meat. Don't die and you might just win. Feel free to kick it too, my pretties. Get ready to play meat. Meat pile in the center, go get it. I know you're dying to get your hands on some meat, so get it. The meat has fallen and is begging to be grabbed. Step 1, get meat done. Step 2, get rid of meat. Oh, you have my meat in your hands.
Okay.
Kinky.
I
Hello,
thought.
everybody. I'm not going to make an obvious meat joke. For now. Get ready to play. Who's ready for a big meat pile?
Honestly, why
And there
did
was
they get
also
rid of
a
it?
bunch of other game modes. You would have had a zombie containment / a wave-based game mode, which might have had you like hold down an area and prevent a certain number of zombies from escaping. And we have seen this game mode in many custom zombie maps, and I'm very upset that we never actually got this legit because it's very, very fun. And you would have also had Pitted, No Man's Land, which I'm just assuming is very, very similar to the Moon's No Man's Land, Deadpool, Cleansed, Richtofen, and Maxis. We're not exactly sure how exactly all these game modes would have played out, but man, they were very, very ambitious with all the game modes that they were wanting to introduce. Now, if you're like me, and you like to know why things get cut, well, you're in luck because Jason Blundell was on the Zombros podcast many, many moons ago, and the topic came up about Transit, and he actually answered the question as to why these game modes got cut.
Its ambition was definitely kind of greater than what the final release was.
Okay.
You know, when it was being proposed, and that was Jimmy was kind of working on that at the time.
Of course.
It had lots of game modes and different versions that you could run. So people that kind of know at the moment, there's standard mode, and then there was grief, right?
Yep.
Well, Transit was being constructed. It had like 4 or 5 different entirely different ways of playing it. It was very exciting. It actually kind of suffered from its ambition in a weird way, because when we'd all test it as a studio and play it, and we'd play all these different modes, and they were all kind of halfway there. So there's one like, I think it's called like something like Capture the Meat or Chase the Meat or something. It was like this one where there was meat things around the map, and you had to go and get it, and it's like safe zone, and then areas get cordoned off or opened up, and lots of different modes. It was really fun, but all the modes were kind of a quarter halfway there, and At the time, again, Black Ops 2, right? Black Ops 2. It was on the back end of kind of development. In other words, Zombies got the kind of the minimum amount of support in the group. And the problem that
Really?
happened was, as we got closer to the end of development, something that Jimmy faced was that, and he'll be able to speak about this far better than I would, but what happened was there was a call which was like, okay, we can't get all these modes to the kind of standard we want, so we need to make the call to kind of strip them away and switch them off. But that decision was made, unfortunately, a little bit too late. And so what happened is the core experience that got released had a bunch of things where, if that's all they'd focused on, some of those rough edges would have been smoothed out.
Okay.
And so that's the kind of.
So we just
I'm
couldn't
sure
finish
this
the
way,
modes. Damn.
If Jimmy was to sit down and look at that, he would probably make a series of strategic changes if he'd had the full development just looking at that map, just with that focus. Because he was doing some really ambitious stuff with the different game modes, and it just ran out of time. That's one of the dangers of development.
Now, if you played Transit when the map first released, and you're ready for
I wonder
some
if they could
hardcore
have
nostalgia,
brought it back,
you might remember this.
like Black
when
Ops 3.
When Transit released, there were actually 3 music Easter eggs that you could activate, and they were all activated the same way, but in a different order. So if you hit all 3 of the teddy bears, but you kept doing it in different orders, you would get 3 very distinctive music Easter eggs. You'd get Carry On by Kevin Sherwood, you'd get Carry On by Avenged Sevenfold, and you'd get that one Skrillex song where it goes, "I'ma try it out." You remember the one from the multiplayer map? At launch, you could activate all of these music Easter eggs, but for some unknown reason, right after launch, they decided to patch this out, so you can only activate.
I really don't do music Easter eggs much anymore, but okay, I don't know if this is all copyrighted, so I'm just gonna.
Known footage of it to exist.
Whoa,
I just want to
hold
say there from Transit, the stuff that really would have made this map the best map of all time. But before that, I first want to say there is some pre-alpha footage somewhere out there on the internet that shows us an entirely different version of Transit.
It looks like
but thanks to
Black Ops
Activision
1.
and their cease and desist, the only known footage of it to exist has been scrubbed from the internet. So if you are out there and you have that footage, hypothetically, send it to me. Things can remain anonymous. I won't tell a soul, but I need to see this footage ASAP because allegedly it was uploaded for a short time on the internet, and apparently it showed such a vastly different Transit that everybody was just
see. I feel like they shouldn't bring back
so
like the older maps sometimes, like
for the love of God,
Noct
please
and
send it to me.
Derice and.
And while I talk about all this stuff, I'm going to be showing you guys some
I feel like they should bring back
features that people were able to rip
the most
through the files,
popular
so
maps
you guys
that
can get an
everyone
idea
liked
and the
from each Call
overall
of
feel
Duty.
that they were wanting to head with Transit. Now, do you guys remember all the rumors about the bus route B? Well, that allegedly was going to be an actual thing.
Bus route.
There was going to be a different bus route, and there was going to be a second.
You could
bus.
like pay the
and there would
driver
have
to
been
go
more
through.
destinations, and you would have been able to skip certain destinations. So it seems like you would have had more control over the bus on where exactly it goes and what it does. And bus route B is kind of canon in a weird way, even though it was cut. It still actually did exist. There was a bus route B, but they ended up taking it out. And Transit was supposed to have a lot more things in it. Allegedly, at some point in its development, they wanted to add a giant lava lake. They wanted to add a power factory and a motel. But one of the coolest things that at some point in its development that they were floating around the idea of that actually made it pretty far, there would have been a daytime in Transit with no fog, no lava, and no denizens. And apparently the idea was floating around that they wanted to do 2 different versions of Transit. One if you had completed the Moon Easter egg, and one if you had not. And allegedly there are some Ultimus quotes floating around out there that would confirm this, but I for the life of me could not find them, so if you happen to have them, please send them to me. But it seems like this idea might have been scrapped because figuring out a way to do game-to-game achievements and also doing it with like 4 players was just way too big of a hassle to attack.
I was about to say, like, how would that carry over for like Xbox?
So they ended up scrapping the idea of having 2 different versions of Transits depending on the Moon Easter egg, which kind of does suck, but I'm also glad they didn't do that because imagine Transit being way better if you hadn't done the Moon Easter egg, but you already did it, so now you're stuck with like the shittier one and you like can't go back to the cool one. I would be kind of upset. And there was also a cut lantern that would have helped you scare away the denizens. Now, this lantern allegedly can be seen and buried when you're doing the Easter egg and you come across the lantern step. People have claimed that this was going to be the lantern that you used in Transit that would scare away the denizens. And I think the reason that this was never implemented was because they really wanted to slow you down on Transit because, again, the console limitations was a real thing. Transit was just way too ambitious for its time. The consoles could not handle it, so they couldn't really give you anything that would speed the map up, just because, again, the consoles would have...
Again, sorry for pausing it, but hey, Black Ops 2 remastered. That's all I'm just going to say.
Probably exploded. And like I said, there was going to be a day and night cycle, and this is an image of the skyboxes of both day and night that you were going to have. And one cool aspect of this is if you have a sniper rifle and you walk around Transit and you look through the reflection of the sniper rifle scope, you can actually see what appears to be what Transit would have looked like in the day. Now, I know it's really hard to see, but everyone seems to unanimously agree that this is what Transit was going to look like allegedly during the daytime. And right here is a earlier concept of the Transit layout, which honestly I kind of prefer this one over the one we actually got. And at some point, Transit was going to have more paths that would direct you between areas, so there wasn't just going to be like, all right, you have to go this way. It would have probably been like, okay, you can take this path, and they were also going to flesh out more areas to make them not as useless as they are in the actual Transit we got. And with a lot of these pictures, you can also tell that town was going to be vastly different. With this image right here, you can see that the town wasn't really going to be filled with the lava that we all just know and love. It was going to be laid out a little bit differently. And with some of the other pictures that I've seen, it seems like they wanted to make town a little bit more lively, which I would have definitely appreciated.
That was cool.
Because the town that we ended up getting in Transit just kind of feels really dead and doesn't really feel like a town as much as it just feels like whatever the opposite of a town is. And also, we have a screenshot of an earlier version of Farm. It's not really much to go by, but you can see that there are a couple changes here and there. Some random objects have been moved around and aren't exactly where they are in the actual game. The bus was also supposed to be more interactive. Apparently, there were some cut TED quotes that I could not find whatsoever that related to filling up the bus with gas and having to pay him in order to get the bus moving. And I'm kind of glad they cut that out because to me, that would be very tedious and get on my nerves. But one thing that they did cut out, which I thought was very interesting, were the concept of ambush rounds. So it made riding the bus a little bit more dangerous. So randomly, the bus would break down and dogs would start spawning in, and the bus would not start moving until you actually kill all the dogs, get your max ammo, and then the bus would start moving. And this got pretty far into development because we do have cut quotes for Hellhounds.
Wow, those are the ugliest dogs I've ever seen. Aw, poor little doggies, I gotta kill you!
So we were gonna have dogs in Transit. Dang!
I don't like hurting animals, but I'll make an exception for you. Suck bull!
Honestly, what if they would have switched out the denizens for dogs? Because technically they're hunting in the fog. You know, that would have been made a little bit of sense.
Blitz devil dogs!
Oh no! It's those horrible Sasquatch dogs! I'm pretty sure those dog things were bred in secret labs! Hellhounds from the Hollow Earth! Oh man, how am I supposed to fight these things? I guess this is all she wrote.
Whatever happened to poodles? I like poodles.
Man.
Oh heck, gonna make these old legs run,
Rust,
ain't you?
Rust
These
man
things are
forever,
uglier
man.
Than my butt. Tell
Rip
me
Rust,
I don't
man.
hear no demon dogs. Get them guns ready.
Now, one thing they did cut that I'm very offended by is that originally Richtofen was supposed to talk to you a lot more. He was going to have a lot of unique dialogue for when you do certain things around the map, like hitting the box, getting power-ups, and or ignoring power-ups, going to new areas. He was going to be a lot more talkative, but it seems like pretty late in development they decided to axe this, and some of this was actually in the release of Transit because I very distinctly remember hearing that Nikolai quote that you're about to hear. But it seems like not too long after the game dropped, they quickly patched this out because it didn't really make too much sense if Stuhlinger is supposed to be the only one that can hear Richtofen. So it seems like they decided to go with that idea because I guess storyline-wise, it really just didn't make too much sense. And it really sucks because it sounds like Richtofen is just having a full-on blast in the ether.
Oh, look! You got the Wunderwaffe DG2! Ha! Just kidding! It's like playing Don't Touch the Lava, but with real lava! Is that all the damage those missiles did? I was hoping for less ground and more lava.
Oh,
I remember
from the
doing
moon, he
that
says.
just to anger that little girl. Oh, his screams are so delightful.
Richtofen, man.
Ah, this building looks familiar.
Oh, so that probably been
No
knocked.
power, no
Knocked.
Juggernog. You have it easy compared to how they had it. It looks like a max ammo, but I can't be sure. I can only see everything at the same time. That gift was just for you. Won't you throw it away? I think I'm offended.
So this if you don't pick up a drop.
Cola! Oh, how I miss that invigorating taste.
Oh my gosh.
Ah, the best drink of them all. Blah, blah, blah. Vodka, vodka, blah, blah. I think I'm starting to miss that drunk.
Oh, so that's
Is no
what
one
he
going to
remembers.
say anything about vodka? You guys are boring. You know, I think I'm starting to miss the other three. Even a stupid American or drunken Russian could do better than that.
Oh, come on.
Trying to take a break, I think. Now, which one of you is going to take care of that little bastard while everyone else runs around? Now go look at everything!
Oh my goodness, yeah, he does
Drop
talk a
one of
lot.
these right here on... Sometimes my pretties need help. Attack! You know, I used to be in your shoes. Then I became an all-powerful, omnipotent being.
Now, Richtofen wasn't the only one with some cut quotes. Maxis also did have his fair share of cut quotes. Now, some of these were never used in the game, and I believe some of these might have been in at launch and then quickly patched out, very similar to the Richtofen quotes.
The creature is too far away. You need his energies, or all your efforts are for naught. The creature is near. Lure him to the spire. This is a great power source, although it will have to be amplified. With any higher output, our communications will likely cease. We will require a burst of tremendous voltage.
Man, a lot of this would have been so
You
cool.
have done well, but we need yet more energy. This is but the tip of what needs 3 sides. Now, create the trichotomous system. That is but one of the required 3 points to complete the design.
Yeah, this would have been a little bit annoying. I'm not gonna lie.
Down the road, we will revisit
To have
this
all
place.
these like
Such a
voice
lovely
quotes in,
place.
maybe they should have just cut half of
It
it.
seems some new cargo
I'm not gonna lie.
needs to be delivered. The spire. The spire is nearby. We have other ways. This power is too intense for my purpose. I cannot communicate while it is... 9! That makes him stronger! No!
Jeez, the tuning in and out of the radio, man.
Now, if the other sites can only be likewise empowered, then perhaps there is still a chance to complete that which was begun so many years
So this is
ago.
only Tranzit
Your
as
help
well.
has
That's
been
insane.
invaluable. Farewell. You have constructed a control mechanism, but to program the computer, you will need to secure an application nav card. You will have to seek it out, then return here and activate the spire to save mankind. You are not one of those foul creatures. Excellent. I have been searching for decades. Listen now. What I have to say is of the utmost importance to mankind. If you would see this planet freed from the curse of these wretched undead creatures and the monstrous evil which controls them, then you must obey my every command. I cannot effect physical change, yet. You must be my hands. Only you can stop that awful worm, Richtofen.
Upgraded jet gun. Need I say more? We got blue balled from an upgraded jet gun that would have been infinitely better.
Oh, I didn't even hear that. Wait, we were supposed to have an upgrade jet gun?
And overall just been a better gun. But unfortunately, they just didn't have the time and resources to make it. Because as you've probably learned by now, this game was incredibly rushed. And one thing that I had completely forgotten about...
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem with fucking coming out with Call of Duty every single dang year. Like, it would have been better just every 2 years, man, because we would have had much more content, man. If Call of Duty came out every single 2 years, I think we would have been on Modern Warfare 2019 right now. Honestly, it said came out in 2026 or something like that. Like, honestly, man, I wish all this content would come back.
until I read something
I hope they
about
make
it.
a
In the Wii U
remaster.
version, the jet gun has some text that says "Aw yeah," and I remember reading something forever ago about the upgraded jet gun having this exact text when you upgrade it. So, you know, that's just another cool thing about the jet gun that we could have gotten, but we never did. Now, power-ups were originally supposed to stay on the bus. So if you were to get a power-up on the bus, it wouldn't travel through the bus and you would never be able to get it. It would actually stay on so you could grab it. Now, I'm pretty sure this was actually at launch. This might just be a Mandela effect, but I'm really positive I remember playing on Transit and being able to grab drops inside the bus. Maybe it caused too many errors and crashes and just overall affected the performance, and maybe that's why they had to cut it. Who knows, but man, the amount of max ammos I've lost because of this. So that is going to be everything for Transit. If I happen to find anything else while I'm making this video, I will add it towards the end. Now moving on to Die Rise. There are many
that was all for Transit.
Rise, there's one called Gripe Russia that is said by Samuel Stollinger.
Russia.
And this has led many people to speculate and theorize that maybe at one point in time, Die Rise was going to take place in Russia instead of China. This is not like 100% proven or anything. It's all just speculations and theories based off of one cut quote. Now, this next part isn't really cut content as much as it is like a lead up to the final product. There are parts of an unused intro cutscene that is basically just the temporary voice actors doing their placeholder lines before they could get the actual VAs in. Now, this cut intro scene is a tad bit different than the final product, and overall, it's not really cut content, like I said, as much as it is just temporary stuff until they can get the actual VAs. But I still thought it was very, very funny, and it was just slightly different enough that I want you guys to watch.
I don't understand. Why are you doing this? Why me? Travel where? Don't you get it? There's nothing left. How did you? What do you mean, man? The revolution? Maybe I don't want it. Did you think of that? You wouldn't. You can't. They'd kill me if they did. Oh! You gonna talk to your imaginary friends? You might want to wait till you're in a seed-free zone.
Man.
Samuel! Get over here!
Oh, not Rustman, no! Wasn't Die Rise the last,
Find a good place
last
to
map?
defend. Kick ass.
I don't understand.
What are you talking about, Samuel? Misty made it pretty clear. Accept your fate! He can't have yours! We go there!
By the way, I just want to point out something in this cutscene as well that really bothered me a lot back in the day. Why is Misty holding the Remington with two hands like a pistol? It really annoyed me back in the day. I just had to say some stuff.
Have we been here before?
Now, I'm not sure if these are all
Okay, so
100%
that last
cut
one,
quotes
I don't
or
think that
unused
was...
ones, or if somehow they're just really rare in the game. I'm literally going off of like a 10-year-old forum post. So I'm just going to let you guys listen to the ones that I think are actually cut, and if I made a mistake, I apologize. But please correct me in the comments if I did.
Remember, my friend, sometimes your answer may lay far, far away from the original question. Joyous news, my kleine Helper! The first spire has now been activated! Together we will thwart Maxis once and for all!
The voice actor for Rick Toffin. Who was the voice actor for Rick Toffin again? He must have been having fun.
Again. That's the echo effect. I love it. I'm still here. The spire, it's so beautiful, and it is mine. All ours. It's all ours. Who knows where? Who knows when? It's so fun, yeah?
You have taken an important step. The spire has been activated. Now, you must locate and activate the others if we are to prevent Richtofen's plans from reaching fruition. Excellent work, humans. Your allegiance brings us one step closer to our goal. Without the control of the first spire, my communications are increasingly fragmented. Do not lose faith. Do not listen to the words of others, lest you face eternal damnation.
Now, these next couple quotes are actually from the characters you play as, and a lot of them have to do with the nav cards. And I believe these were actually in the game more towards launch, but later down the line eventually got patched out once nav cards kind of became useless. Because I think the theory goes that nav cards were originally going to be the way to unlock all the new game modes. And then, you know, once that kind of backfired, the nav cards and nav tables kind of became irrelevant. So I think Treyarch was originally wanting to do a lot more with the nav cards and the nav tables, but it just never panned out. But we still do have some quotes. And like I said, I think these were originally on the map and then later got patched out. But let me know what you guys think. I went into the game with multiple different characters on multiple different tries and kept picking up the nav cards, and I never heard a single quote. So my game always could just be busted, but I think these were patched out.
Another one, huh? Hey, this thing fits. We're a long way from home.
More games, more puzzles. Super. What does it all mean? So it goes here. Well, thank you. Couldn't you have just told us?
I suspect that this particular card is intended for another location. Is it here or somewhere else? Card accepted. It seems our manipulation grows ever more complex.
More nerd stuff. Suppose it can't do any harm to keep it. Well, who'd have thunk it? That thing we've been lugging around actually worked.
So now for these next couple quotes, again, I'm not sure if these are actually cut quotes or if I'm just getting bamboozled, so take this all with a grain of salt.
I don't understand. How can there be power? Everything's gone. Leave me alone! Stop talking to me! Oh, keep it together, Samuel.
I think the first line was actually in the game. It just sounds like it would have been in the game.
It's cursed. It's not real. No, I know it's real. Crazy German telling me to do things. The voice. He knows things I couldn't. He has to be real. Where are we? What happened to the town? The light. I remember the light. Ah! Oh, it spoke! One of them
Wait, this was supposed to be in Die Rise? Why he's talking about town?
And lastly, two more things about Die Rise. Number one, it seems that Tombstone Soda was supposed to be on the map because in the game's audio files, each character has a line for Tombstone Soda. I'm not going to play it or anything because it's just the same line from Tranzit, so either they were lazy and didn't remove them, or Tombstone was on Die Rise and they just took it out last second. And lastly, I came across an image of a very, very early Die Rise spawn. And you can see in this image, the spawn is laid out just a tad bit differently than the one we actually do have. It seems like this first floor of this building wanted to keep all the perks in one area instead of how they have it now, which is all kind of like spread out. Now let's move on to Mob the Dead. Originally, Mob the Dead was going to be a lot bigger, and actually they wanted it to encompass all of Alcatraz, but of course, because console limitations and just lack of time, they were unable to. And I found a bunch of pre-alpha screenshots of Mob the Dead, and as I'm talking about it, I will just have those in the background. But what I found interesting in some of these pre-alpha screenshots is there's this one where the M14 is on the wall instead of the Tommy gun. So maybe at some point in time this was going to be spawn, or the M14 was just being put there as a placeholder. You can never really tell with these kind of things. But probably the one big thing to come out of Mob the Dead was the Richtofen zombie head. And Jason Blundell in that same interview from earlier actually had a comment about this.
You mean like the snapping Richtofen head?
The what?
Oh, is this? I think I've seen this before.
No, I have not heard of this.
I've sent this to you. I know you've seen this.
Okay, all right then. I see a lot. There's so much stuff. You know, I can't remember it all.
I think was it Mob of the Dead that I think somebody ripped it? I don't know, but I've seen this before.
Okay.
Or a render of it.
There's been different ideas. Very few, because usually wonder weapons take so much investment that it's very rare for them to be concepts and then thrown away.
Yep.
Even if a wonder weapon is not working, we'll just play with the values until we're happy with it. Even if it didn't get to where we wanted it to go originally or wasn't hitting a certain vibe. But because it's, as I say, weapons are such a huge investment to make and animate and check all its consistency and so forth. It's very, very rare that they're just left on the side.
Fascinating.
Well, let's not get away from the Richtofen head, though. Let's not try to dodge that. But so was that actually a wonder weapon that just didn't work out?
It was an idea that never made it onto the table. Yes, John.
So maybe at some point in time, they were actually planning to have this as a wonder weapon in Mob the Dead, but then pushed it back to Grief and then just canned it as a whole because they just weren't happy with it. Which is a shame because we actually have footage of how this thing would have behaved, and it's pretty spooky and yet badass.
Ouchie, my head! You look great! Get your fingers out
don't know about that one. Okay. He still has black hair instead of gray hair.
Why don't you come and pick me up? Let's play toss the head. Stop leaving me on the ground. God, it's really dirty on the ground. Come and get me.
Now, one thing that I keep seeing a lot of people say that was cut, but I never really see any evidence for, but I'm going to believe it because it makes it more interesting. Apparently, there was an individual Easter egg for each player that did get scrapped, which kind of does suck because I feel like it would have just added even more to Mob of the Dead. And also, there were cut character announcer quotes for everyone but Weasel. So maybe this would have had to do with each person's individual Easter egg, or maybe this is just completely unrelated and related to the main Easter egg.
No PhD,
who really knows,
nothing
but
over
this
there.
exists.
Carpenter, double points, insta-kill, max ammo, kaboom, fire sale.
Carpenter, double points.
Don't they say this?
Max ammo, kaboom, fire sale.
Carpenter, double points, insta-kill.
Oh, I thought his name was Billy Henderson, not Handsome.
Kaboom!
I never knew that.
Fire sale!
Now, when it comes to perks, apparently in the files, PhD and Mule Kick could also be found, but in the game, we know that they are just chilling over there on the docks. And also, Jug was originally supposed to be in Cell Block, but they said YOLO, put PhD Flopper in instead, and decided to make Cell Block infinitely harder. And continuing on with the perks thing, Electric Cherry was actually supposed to have its own jingle, and it was going to be an 80s disco theme, but Treyarch themselves has stated that it didn't really fit with the map, so unfortunately it had to go. And the last thing that I could find about Mob of the Dead is some cut quotes from Brutus. Now again, I'm just going off of what the internet tells me, and I apologize if any of these are actually in the game, but as far as I know, I'm more than positive majority of these have actually been cut or were taken out at some point.
I have a life, a wife and son. 9:30, guard begins his rounds. This better be the real deal this time. I knew you four were in cahoots. You're gonna learn some respect. Court's in session.
Court's in session?
You can't hide from the law. The guilty must be punished.
Honestly, again, if we just get a Black Ops 2 remaster or remake, honestly, this all could literally just be in the game.
No talking. Come on to yourselves. This is a prison. So,
like, I really do hope that they change zombies again. Instead of the zombies that we have now in Black Ops 7, instead of making it that arcade type style, honestly, bring it back with the original, like this stuff. Honestly, it's literally, this was way better than just spawning in with a gun that you can choose. And
now, Buried had the least amount of stuff that I could find about it, but I was able to find a bunch of like pre-alpha pictures of it, so I will put those all on screen right now. And in the pre-alpha pictures, one of them has the shield in it, so maybe at one point we were going to have the shield, or that's just from them like giving themselves all the weapons and stuff. I don't know, I'm not smart, but I did find a picture of the shield on Buried in a pre-alpha state, so I thought I should tell you guys. But there is an unused music box theme that we never got to have, which is
that was supposed to be Leroy,
because I'm always down for
AKA
some
Arthur
themes.
Oh, heck no. Oh, heck no. I just got Five Nights at Freddy's flashbacks. And I think Call of Duty Black Ops 2 came out before Five Nights at Freddy's as well, so... Ooh.
And the waifu ghosts were actually going to have their own rounds, similar to Hellhounds and stuff. And they actually had their own theme for it, which we never got to hear. And I'm kind of glad. I like how the ghosts operate now, mainly because I can get my free perks. And
that was the time bomb? What the heck is that? Oh, whoa. Hey. That sounds like a Dead Ops arcade. Oh, bring Dead Ops arcade back, by the way. Honestly. That was actually a really fun game mode. That's the arcadey type style game mode that I would think that we would all like. So this was supposed to be for the ghost. Or the witch. I don't think she's a ghost. I think they're witches. Well, I guess they are ghosts.
And of course, we also have some cut quotes. And as I was actually looking for these cut quotes, I found a Rizzo video where he actually put them together in a conversation, and it just made this infinitely better, and I had to share it. But I really think these cut quotes should have been in the game because it just adds way more personality to these characters.
Hey! Everyone listen to me, okay? I think I know what we have to do.
Stu, you may want to think before you speak. People are gonna start thinking you're not altogether right in the head.
Ah, put a sock in it, stupid jerk, before I use my boot.
If I was more prone to sarcasm, I probably would say, please, tell me more.
You know that voice I keep hearing? I really think he's trying to help us, you know?
No one cares what your brain buddy tells you, drool finger.
It's highly unlikely that
always
any good will
Misty,
come
man.
from
Why is
following the
Misty
advice
doing
of an
that?
invisible man.
Any chance you and your imaginary friend could just talk in private for a while?
Look, I know it sounds crazy, but he's given me real good hints about what we need to do.
I'm sorry, Stuhlinger. Your link with reality seems tenuous at best.
Listening to voices only you can hear ain't a good idea, Stu. I talk from experience.
Ha! I know one thing about the voice in your head, stool finger. He can't be all that smart if he wants to talk to you.
Don't you guys want to hear my idea? It's pretty good. Honestly.
Hey, stupid jerk. Will you do me a favor and shut the f*** up? Honestly, you just go on and on and on.
What is what is the reason with Misty
from a German
like,
in
hating
your head,
her?
Mr. Stuhlinger.
Probably best to just keep it to yourself, Stu. You sound like a damn crazy man.
Now moving on to Origins. It appears at some point in time they had wanted to make a village over where the church is, but of course, console limitations running out of time, they were unable to because we have this official concept art that has this nice, beautiful little village over near the church. And honestly, it's kind of a shame because the actual playable areas of Origins isn't as much when you think about it because it's mainly just like tank paths and actual paths to and from. So having a little village over there would have actually been pretty cool. And you know how there are cut signs for like the tank station and stuff? Well, we also had a couple other signs inside of the files that we never got to see, such as farmhouse, storage, which I'm just assuming was maybe another name for the workshop. And we had one for graveyard and main chamber. I'm assuming the graveyard would have been over by the church and the main chamber would have been right above Pack Punch. And also, someone went digging through the files and found Who's Who and Tombstone Soda. Just imagine for a sec, Who's Who on Origins. I think that would have been pretty fun, not gonna lie. And I really couldn't find much on Origins, so the last thing that I could find was this Samantha quote when she's talking about drops that says, mystery.
Mystery.
Who knows what mystery would have been? I think it maybe would have been something very similar to like the QED, how it just gives you something random. But that quote is all we really have to go off of. So as we round the corner towards the end of this video, let's talk about DLC 5. Yes, Black Ops 2 was meant to have a DLC 5. And it might have been in 2 parts. We might have had a first part that would have had all the World at War ones, and then we would have had even more Black Ops 1 maps also remastered. It would have came out during COD Ghost's cycle, but Activision was like, 9? We're axing that. Apparently footage out there does exist of people booting up the maps, but they're not, you know, the fully completed maps. They're only sections of the maps in Black Ops 2. And I actually found these pictures of Verrucht and Derice that were found in the Black Ops 2 files. And it seems like the maps for World at War were also going to be remakes. That Verrucht was allegedly going to have its own pack punch machine over near Power. And it seems like the reason we got the Giant for Black Ops 3 was because Treyarch had already put in some of this effort to get Derice into Black Ops 2 that they just said, it, and then just pushed the Giant onto Black Ops 3. And also, listen, I'm not a pro at going through the code or anything, but I did have some of my mods look through some Black Ops 2 code, and again, we're all borderline retarded. but we did find a lot of code relating to the Cosmonaut.
So that would have been Moon.
So maybe this was related to Transit and the Easter egg scenario, or maybe this was related to the Moon remastered for Black Ops 2. I don't know, but there's a lot of Black Ops 1 files that were just in Black Ops 2 because it was built off Black Ops 1. So maybe this was just some leftover stuff that they never took out. I don't know. I'm not smart when it comes to this stuff. I'm just smart at presenting it and giving it to you guys. But yes, Black Ops 2 was going to have a DLC 5, and it kind of sucks that it didn't get it, but we eventually did get it all for Black Ops 3, so it evens out in the end. And just a couple more things that I ended up finding around on the interwebs. Allegedly, the Thunder Gun and the Mark II were going to be on Transit. I couldn't find any proof of that. This is just something that people are saying.
Well, the Mark II is on Transit, but you just have to buy
Again, there was a lot of Black Ops 1 leftovers for Black Ops 2. But some of the more notable ones were the Spaz, the Dragunov, the Sabretooth, and Bouncing Betties, and the Commando at some point in time. And lastly, here are a bunch of pre-alpha menus for Black Ops 2. And again, if you have that Black Ops 2 footage, for the love of God, send it to me. I want to see Transit. What could have been of Transit? I need to see it. Now, there's a couple things that I missed in the previous games, so thanks to JB Shady for actually pointing all this out and giving me this footage. We actually have more footage of the original turned game mode that was all the way back in World at War. And I'm not gonna lie, I could be getting bamboozled here, but this looks awesome.
Are you serious?
Enemy movement!
I swear, World at War has some crazy looking, like, weird movements and all that.
And last
like,
but not least, I have no idea how I didn't get this, but there was a cut radio in World at War Derice, and I guess I've just heard this radio so many times that I just never thought anything about it.
Gentlemen, allow me to take this opportunity to welcome you to Group 935. This is a prestigious moment in the history of our race. You represent the future of technological advancement. You are the pioneers of human discovery. In your hands lies the destiny of mankind. In our hands is a great power, and with that power comes a price. You have volunteered to be part of this great experiment, and with that decision comes the responsibility of absolute secrecy. No one is to know what you do, where you work, what our research has uncovered, or what our purpose will be. You will have no further contact with your governments or with your families. Your decision to fully dedicate your lives to Group 935 is absolute. In your lockers, you will find your Field Ops Manual, which will direct you should our manifesto get compromised. We cannot afford to let this power fall into the wrong hands, and therefore the Field Ops Manual should be considered your Bible. Make your preparations now. A new dawn is beginning for mankind.
So if I missed or got anything wrong or forgot anything, please let me know down there below in the comments and I will fix it in the next video. Let's get 4,000 likes if you guys want me to do this again, because this video took a lot of time and a lot of effort, and please just like the video. So that's going to be it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, bell notification. That's it. Peace.
Wow, okay. Well, anyways, guys, this was 45 minutes of cut content in Zombies. This was Black Ops 2. I'm actually really excited to see what Black Ops 1, World at War, Black Ops 3 have, and maybe some of the newer Call of Duties if we have any more of the newer Call of Duties. But anyways, this was created by Crazy Rabbit. Guys, go check out his channel down in the link in the description below. You guys can also hit the subscribe button so that you guys can get ultimately some of his videos. Anyways, make sure to check out my channel as well, guys. It would definitely help me and support the channel as well. I'm almost to 2,000 subscribers. I can't believe I left before 2,000 subscribers, guys. But guys, I am trying to come back. Uploads will kind of be a little weird, but guys, just hang in there, bear with me for a second. But anyways, again, hopefully you guys enjoy. Make sure to go check out some of my other videos. Hit that like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace!